Good morning. My name is Damian Ishmael Farab, and this is Lecture 22 about Restorative Justice. This is the primary text for the You are welcome to use writing utensils and paper to take the best notes during this lecture. I have scheduled an individual lecture project at the end of this lecture for you to complete. Let's begin. We should fight to save our families. Genesis chapter 14, verses 14 through 16 state, open quote, when Abram heard that his relative was taken captive, he laid out his 318 train born in his house and pursued as far as Dan. He divided himself against them by night, he and his servants, and struck them, and pursued them to Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. He brought back all the goods, and also brought back his relative, Lot, and his goods, and the women also, and the other people. Close quote. I do not support attacks against other people in these times. However, we, Africans and the African diaspora, need to study and understand laws of the United States of America and international laws to work to repatriate descendants of African slaves onto their ancestral settlements in African countries. We need to recognize that Africans and the African diaspora are one family and not separate tribes. We have different languages, constitutions, and currencies, but we can come together with one language, constitution, and currency. We don't come together to fight and overthrow the truth. We come together under the truth. We come together to love one another unconditionally. However, we don't love one another's offenses. We don't love our offenses. We forgive ourselves of offenses. We forgive other people of offenses. However, forgiveness comes with accountability. We are accountable to the truth for our offenses. Therefore, we commit our lives to speak the truth, perform correct actions, and follow correct ways. Correct ways lead to justice. Justice is right to everybody and for everybody. Stop expecting other people to make us rich. Genesis chapter 14, verses 22 and 23 state, open quote, Abram said to the king of Sodom, open quote, I have lifted up my hand to Yahweh, God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take a thread, nor a sandal strap, nor anything that is yours, lest you should say, open quote, I have made Abram rich, close quote. On the other hand, we can allow other people to help us. We cannot do anything alone. For example, we cannot succeed or fail alone. If we succeed, other people help us to succeed. If we fail, other people help us to fail. We need to choose success or failure. We need to choose to improve our spiritual, psychological, physical, social, and geographical conditions, or stay in the current state of these conditions. Other people that help us to succeed are not our enemies. To the contrary, other people, even other Africans or members of the African diaspora, that hinder our success to keep us in unprofitable conditions or our enemies. Therefore, we need to look past other people's physical appearances into their characters to rightly judge them. We need to look past our physical appearances into our characters to rightly judge ourselves. This concludes the lecture. This is our individual lecture project. Listen to the instructions to your individual lecture project. Individual lecture project. Study your family. Note the barriers to success that keep certain family members from success. Draft a plan to use other family members to destroy this barrier and restore the lost member into the family. The barrier cannot be a person or property. The barrier can be a condition. Nevertheless, execute this plan. Thank you and have a blessed day. This concludes the lecture 22 about restorative justice. Thank you for listening to this lecture and completing the individual lecture project. Have a blessed day.